ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञानगुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So now we are seeing that Bhagwan Shankaracharya's Shishyas got so inspired by the 12 verses composed by their Guru Acharya Shankara that each one of his disciples, some of them known to us because of their other works, some of them not known by name, not known for whatever work they have done, some of them not even named here, each one of them composed one verse each as inspired by the original teaching of their Guru, and they contributed to adding to something to what their Guru had said. And that's what we have been seeing. And I don't think there is any need to go too much into the summary of what we saw in the last session, because ultimately the whole Dvadasha Manjarika or Adi Shankaracharya's work we have seen very, very clearly. And there is a lot of repetition of the concepts or repetition of the same truths given by Bhagwan Shankaracharya in whatever shlokas are given by his disciples. So the one we saw last time in the last session, the 21st verse we saw, where Punarapi Jananam Punarapi Maranam, which is a very common shloka which is all the time talked about. And he said that Nityanatha was the disciple who composed this verse. He said that all the time this samsara is there for every being. But a human being, knowing that he is bound or in samsara, cannot really have any control over it. A human jiva or even an animal jiva, we have no control over samsara. We are just moving from situation to situation, moment to moment when we are alive. And when this body dies, this jiva again moves in search of another body. And therefore, this samsara is such, which is because of ajnana, karma phala, janma. This cycle is continuing again and again and again. And for millions of lives, I have been coming back again and again into this world. So, this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, and trying to find a womb of a mother for manifesting myself into another body. This has been going on for lives and lives together. And this samsara, bahudustare, very difficult to cross over. So, kripaya pare pahi murare. Surrender to the Lord. Surrender to the knowledge given by this Lord. Because the ultimate freedom from this samsara is only when you surrender to this knowledge. And this knowledge is the only one which again finally releases me from this samsara. So surrender to the Lord, surrender to the Guru, and then surrender to the teachings of Bhagavan or teachings of Lord, like Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, but ultimately what did he surrender to? He surrendered to the teachings of Lord Krishna. So he says, Kripaya pare pahi murare, my effort will be there, my self effort will be there, but I am praying for grace of Ishvara. Pahi Murare, Hey Murare, Hey Vishnu, please help me to cross this ocean of samsara. And how will you help me? How will Lord help me to cross this ocean of samsara? By taking me to Jnana Yoga. So, by going to Jnanam, by going to Atma Jnanam, by understanding the Atma Swarupa, understanding Aham Brahmasmiti, that is the ultimate release from samsara for me. So, I surrender to you, O Lord, Kripaya Pare Pahi Murare. The next one is an unknown disciple. We do not know who the disciple is. The name is not given here for this verse. He talks about actually the state of a jnani who has left everything and gone. And he is a wandering monk. He talks about a sannyasi wandering monk. Of course, we can have wandering monks who do not have this knowledge. We can have wandering sannyasis without this knowledge. We can have people, jnanis, who are abiding in the Atmaswarupa, may not be wandering, but they may be doing whatever they were doing in their respective ashramas. In the sense, ashramas means grahastha ashrama or whichever they are doing their respective duties of following their ashrama dharma and swadharma. We may find that. At the same time, there may be many jnanis who would have probably left everything, taken to sannyasa, vidvat sannyasa, which is called Vidvat Sannyasa, and they go as wandering monks. Here, this unknown disciple of Shankaracharya is talking about how such a renunciate monk, a jnani, not simply a monk who has renounced everything without being prepared for it, not such kind of a bahu udara nimittam bahukrita vesham we saw. It's not that kind of a monk. It's not that kind of a sannyasi. This is a jnani sannyasi who has left everything, renounced everything, and who is living the life of a parivrajaka or a wandering sannyasi. How is this person's life? He says in the next verse, रथ्याकर्पटविरचितकण्ठः पुण्यापुण्यविवर्जितपन्थः योगी योगनियोजितचित्तः रमते बालोन्मत्तवदेव. So this disciple says, this wandering monk has left everything. He does not even have his clothes with him. He has left everything. But then, what kind of clothes does he wear? How does he cover his body? Rathya karpata virachita kanthaha. That means what? Whatever rags he finds on his way, he patches them. The various rags are patched. It is the kanthaha means it is a something like a patched cloth. And rathya karpata, from whatever rags he finds, because he has no possessions of his own. So to cover himself, whatever rags he finds on the way, he converts it into a cloth by patching those things. And at the same time, punya apunya vivarjita panthaha, this person has gone through that path or jnana yoga which has made him realize that he is nothing but that atma which is punya apunya vivarjitah. This atma, I am this atma, punya apunya, anyatra dharmat anyatra adharmat. I am that atma swarupa which is not afflicted by dharma or adharma, punya or papa. And who is this person? Yogi in the third line. He says, Yogi Yoga Niyojita Chittaha. Yogi Yoga Niyojita Chittaha. Here means this yogi, this jnani is abiding in this yoga. Here yoga does not mean the asanas and other things that we are following of the yoga. Here yoga means he is abiding in that teaching. He is abiding in that yoga, in that knowledge. He is abiding in the Atma Swarupa. Yogi Yoga Niyojita Chittaha Ramate Balonmattavadevaha. He's happy for no reason. He has nothing to be happy about. He's wearing all patched up, torn clothes. He's wandering here and there, depending on other people to feed him. Even then, this person is happy for no reason. Therefore, what it says is happiness does not depend upon what I possess or who I am or where I am. Happiness depends upon my attitude. If I am abiding in my Atma Swarupa as a jnani, whatever may be the situation outside, it is not going to affect me because I am the Asanga Atma. Balavat or Unmattavat. Unmattavat means he may look as if he is a madman. Many times, these saints, wandering monks, jnanis, are confused to be mad people, and it seems there are instances where people have thrown stones at them and they have made fun of them because this person is happily moving about, and therefore he can be confused for an unmattaha, for a mad person, or a small child who is happy for no reason at all. This is the glory of an enlightened monk. Glory of a monk who is enlightened. Enlightened means what? The one who has understood Aham Brahmasmi, Atmani Ramate, the one who is abiding in Asma Swarupa. Such a wandering monk is happy for no reason at all because he is abiding in his Sukha Swarupa Atma. Then next verse, where a disciple called Surendra comes and he says, may you inquire into the nature of the world and the nature of yourself. How long are you going to go after Arthakama Purusharthas? May you inquire, is the world really what you think it is? Or is the world something different? Can the world really give you security? Can the world really give you happiness? What is the reality of this world? And what is the reality of yourself? Please find out that. Please inquire that. That is the inquiry which is actually the Vedantic inquiry. So he says, get into that inquiry. The Surendra disciple says, Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Kastvam, to whom do I belong? Do I belong to my parents? Today, these parents are my parents because of the relationship with this body. This body has come from these parents. So it is the bodily relationship. But do I really belong to them? Do they belong to me? Make an inquiry into this. Koham, who am I? In the last Janma, who are my parents? Which kind of a body I was in? Am I this body? How I was, this Jiva was in which particular form in its previous birth? So, Koham, who am I? Kuta ayataha, from where have I come? Was I here all the time? Where was I before this body was born? Am I this body or am I something else? What is it that has traveled and come into this mother's womb and this set of parents I have got? Are they really my parents? Do I really belong to them? Are all these people really my relatives? Or it is just a connection of this body with some people? What is it? What is the secret? Kame janani kome tataha. Who's my mother? I would have hundreds of mothers, millions of mothers in my all my previous life. Kome tataha. Who's my father? Do I really have a father, mother? This life, these two are my parents. It is only because of the relationship of this body to them. They have not given birth to me, the Jiva. They have given birth to this Annamaya Kosha. This Sharira only they have given birth to. The Sukshma Sharira also does not belong to them. Then, am I belonging to them? Kame Janani Kome Tataha Iti Paribhavaya. May you keep on thinking about this, that who am I? What is the purpose of this Janma? Why have I come here? What is the purpose of this repeated coming again and again? Iti Paribhavaya Sarvam Asaram Vishwam. This Vishwam, this Jagat is Asaram. I think it has all the Sara, but I myself know how long can the Jagat or the objects of the Jagat give me happiness? How much fulfillment can I have from the objects of the Jagat? From people, relationships, from the objects of the world, from the situations, what kind of happiness, how much happiness, what kind of a fulfillment can I have? I have seen it already that all these, that all that can the world can give me temporary, fleeting moments of peace, security, and happiness. And for most of the time, I don't have that peace, security, and happiness. That is the reason I'm searching for the permanent security, peace, and happiness. So may you understand, he's telling Surendra, that this whole world is asaram. Asaram means it does not really have any value, any meaning. It is there at this time, not there the next moment. The situation is here now. Next, it is some other situation. Today, there is somebody with me. That somebody is not there tomorrow with me. So, this Vishwam Sarvam Asaram, this whole Jagat is Asaram. Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam. So, give up this strong obsession with the Jagat as that which can fulfill me and give me peace, security, and happiness. It is like a dream. Like in the dream, I feel the dream is real. When I wake up, I understand that what was there was merely a dream. It no longer exists. And this entire Jagat, which I feel is real, is as unreal as the dream. So, Vishwam Asaram Sarvam Tyaktva Swapna Vicharam. Do this kind of a paribhavaya means do this inquiry, do this vichara. And then the next verse is do this vichara on another level. Now you did a particular vichara as to who is this, who, what is this body, who is this body, who is this person by name so and so. All that vichara I did. But then next person called as Medhaditihi. It's a person called Medhaditihi who is the disciple of Acharya Shankara. He says, make an inquiry into what is it that is the content of you and the others. Are the other jivas different from you? Is the Jagat actually different from you? What is this Jagat? What are the other jivas with whom I am all the time feeling insecure because of the other jivas? Who are they? Who am I? Make an inquiry on this particular thing. What does it say? 24th verse. What does it say? त्वयि मयि चान्यत्रैको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कुप्यसि मय्यसहिष्णुः भवसमचित्तः सर्वत्र त्वं वाञ्छस्य चिराद्यति विष्णुत्वम्. So he says here, त्वयि मयि च अन्यत्र एको विष्णुः. In me, in you, and elsewhere in the Jagat, there is only one consciousness, Eko Vishnuhu. Vishnuhu here does not mean Lord Vishnu, Saguna Vishnu. It means Vishnu means this consciousness. There is this one consciousness. Like Krishna said, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Same thing here it is said, Tvai, Mai, Anyatra Yeko Vishnuhu. Whether it is me or you or anybody else or anywhere else, there is one consciousness which is pervading all of us. Vyartham kupyasi mai asahishnuhu. If that is so, if there is one consciousness which is within me and you, why should I have any conflict with you? Why should you have any conflict with me? Vyartham kupyasi. You are unnecessarily having a conflict. Kupyasi means anger. Why are you angry with me? What it means is, why are we having conflicts with each other? Ultimately, it is the same consciousness, the reality of both of us. Of all of us, the reality is nothing but that Vishnu consciousness. Then why are we always in conflict with each other? Bhava samachittaha sarvatratvam. May you understand samachittaha. What is the meaning of samachittaha? See that it is that one consciousness which is there as the adhishtanam of every jiva and the jagat also. When you see this, then you have no competition with the world, you have no conflict with the other jivas. So bhava samachittaha sarvatram tvam vanchasi achiradyadi vishnutvam. If you want to really have moksha, if you want to attain your goal of samsara nivritti in the form of moksha, then achirad, without much delay, if you want, without delay, to escape from this samsara and abide in your own Vishnutvam, then bhava samachittaha sarvatra. May you see everything as same. Samachittatvam. Samachittatvam means what? Paramarthikataya. There is only one consciousness which is there everywhere. Vyavaharikataya, for transaction basis, there are different bodies, there are different minds, there are different objects in the world, and when you are doing transaction in the Vyavaharika Prapancha, one has to do the transactions. One cannot see everything as one, but may you understand that ultimately there is one consciousness which is behind all these things. And all my vyavaharas are what? Gunaha guneshu vartante, indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. So this is a common, this is something where anatma body mind sense complex is transacting with the anatma jagat. That's all it is. But paramarthikataya, by absolute truth, what is the absolute truth? It is the same consciousness which is in all of us, which is the content of all of us, adhishtanam of all of us. And when I see this, then when I understand this, then he says that achirad vishnutvam vanchasi adi. If you want to abide in this Atmaswarupa, escape from samsara, which is called as moksha, may you learn to see everything as Ishvara, everything as Vishnu. Then in the next verse, in the 25th verse, this is the disciple called as Bharati Vamshaha. Bharati Vamshaha, what does he say here in the next verse? He says, शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ मा कुरु यत्नं विग्रहसन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानं सर्वत्रोत्सृज भेदज्ञानम् शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धौ Shatru, whether it is the Shatru, whether it is Mitra, whether it is your own relative Putra or Bandhu, your own relatives, your own family members, there can be conflicts. One moment, there need not be conflicts. There may be a very good relationship between every one of us. Sometimes there may be conflicts. Where do these conflicts lie? Where do these conflicts arise? They arise in the Anatma. They don't arise in the Atma. Therefore, he says, Ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhav. Don't bother about these things. Vigraha. That means what? If there are any conflicts, if there are differences of opinion between your own people, like, Shatru, Mitra, Putra, Bandha, don't worry about it. The conflicts are where? At the level of the Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. There is really no conflict at the Paramarthika Satyam Atma, the real me in my Swarupam, there is no question of any kind of a conflict. So, Ma Kuru Yatnam Vigraha Sandhau. Don't worry about it. Don't lose your mind over it. Sarvasminapi Pashyati Atpashya Atmanam. Sarvasminapi Pashyan Atmanam. Pashya Atmanam. See that Atma as the common thread of consciousness in everybody, in your Shatru, in your Mitra, in your Bandhu, in your Putra. It is the same consciousness. But at the level of the body mind sense complex, Vyavaharikataya, there can be good moments, bad moments. There could be misunderstandings, there could be fights, there could be some kind of a not seeing eye to eye. That is only at the Vyavaharika level. There's no question of I hate you, I will not talk to you for the rest of my life. All these things, they don't make any meaning at all. They don't give any meaning at all. So don't worry about it. Sarvasminapi Pashya Atmanam. See that common thread of consciousness in every jiva, in every being, despite whatever may be your conflicts with the other person or with the other jiva. Sarvatra utsrija bheda jnanam. May you try to get out of that bheda jnanam. What is the Bheda Jnanam? I am different from other jivas. I, the jiva, is different from the Jagat. I, the jiva, is different from Ishvara. Therefore, I have to protect myself from other jivas. I have to protect myself from the Jagat. And I have to protect myself from Ishvara also. This kind of a Bheda Jnanam is what gives rise to conflict. Therefore, Sarvatra, everywhere, all the time, Utsrijya, Sarvatra Utsrijya Bheda Jnanam. May you see that Bheda is there Vyavaharikataya. It is not the real Bheda. The Bheda is only from the point of view of the body mind sense complex. Actually speaking, Swarupataya, Paramarthikataya, there is no Bheda. Jiva Jiva Bheda is not there. Jiva Jagat Bheda is not there. Jiva Ishvara Bheda is not there, which we have in detail seen in all the previous three texts that we have done, which is called as the Abheda Jnanam. This is the ultimate teaching of Vedanta. Then in the next verse, we get this, yeah, we saw that. The next one, what does he say now? This person, Bharati Vamsha, says, in this next verse, he says, this, of course, the previous one we saw was from unknown person, not Bharati Vamsha. This particular one, the 26th verse is Bharati Vamsha. So he talks about dealing with the inner obstacles to moksha. Ultimately, Bhajagovindam is choose moksha. Ultimately, Shankaracharya wants us all to become mumukshus and get free from samsara, from the ocean of samsara. So this is a moksha grantha. This is an Advaita, stotra, which is a moksha stotra. Advaita parastotra, moksha stotra. It's a moksha grantha. We can call it a grantha. Any work can be called a grantha, however small it may be. So here, this Bharati Vamsha talks about inner obstacles. We talked all the time about outer obstacles, about obsession with the world, obsession with people, Bheda Jnana. But we are having internal, conflicts or internal obstacles to our growth as mumukshus. So, what are those internal obstacles, the inner obstacles, the inner enemies which are there in me, which are preventing me from becoming a mumukshu, which are preventing me from understanding and ascertaining the teaching of Vedanta? What are those inner obstacles? That is what is going to be talked about here. So he says, Bharati Vamsha here in the 26th verse, कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं भावय कोऽहम् आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढाः ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढाः. So this person, says, the important inner internal obstacles to moksha are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. We have already seen that in Bhagavad Gita. That is why Lord Krishna is all the time talking about Raga Dvesha management and talks about Chitta Shuddhi. Where are these internal obstacles? They are in my mind. They are the emotions in my mind which are responsible for the malas. These are the malas in my intellect which do not allow this knowledge to be absorbed properly. I have to manage these internal obstacles which are there in my mind, the emotions of kama, krodha, lobha, moha. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, that is Raga, Dvesha, Lobha. Lord Krishna in the 16th chapter said, Narakadvarani, if you remember. These three are Narakadvarani. These three will take you to Naraka, in the sense they will make you come back again and again into lower yonis, lower lokas. That is what he is saying here, Bharati Vamsha. Kamam, Krodham, Lobham, Moham. Kama, a binding desire, without fulfilling which I feel incomplete. Krodha, inappropriate anger or hatred. Lobha, greed to possess something which does not belong to me, or greed to possess more and more and more than what I already have. Moha, delusion that the world and Arthakama is going to give me happiness, peace, and security. Moham tyaktva atmanam bhavaya. Get rid of that. How to get rid of that? Karma yoga. Karma yoga, that's what Lord Krishna said. Here he is not telling how to get rid. Get rid of what? How do you get rid of kama krodhas? How do you manage raga dveshas? Karma yogena. Raga dvesha viyuktasya, Krishna says. That is a karma yogi. By karma yoga, chitta shuddhi, getting rid or diluting all these things which become an obstacle to moksha. And he says, Atma jnana vihina mudhaha. Those people who have these internal obstacles to Atmajnana and Atmajnana Vihinaha, those who do not have Atmajnana, cannot go to Atmajnana or cannot absorb and digest this knowledge, the scriptural knowledge, because of these internal obstacles in the mind. Such people, what happens? Te pachyante naraka nigudhaha. Naraka means what? They keep coming back again and again into these any of these lokas. All these lokas can be called naraka. Why? Because they are dukkha yonis. They are all the lokas. Maybe relatively one higher loka may be better than this. Swarga loka may be better than this loka by experience. But all the 14 lokas, our scriptures say, are dukkha yonayaha, or they are the dukkha, they are the ones which give you dukkha. They are a mixture of sukha dukkha. Most of the time we are in dukkha. Therefore, naraka nigudaha. That means I come back again and again into these fields of experience which are nothing but sorrow. In whichever loka I am born, in whichever field of experience I am born, there is nothing but majority, most of the time, it is dukkha only. Pachyante means afflicted by dukkha. Nigudaha, naraka nigudaha means I keep coming back again and again into this hellish kind of a samsara. Because many times we feel this samsara is a hell, I want to get out of it, isn't it? So any samsara which gives me dukkha can be compared to naraka. So he says, Te pachyante naraka nigudaha. In the next verse, another disciple called as Sumati comes. Sumati. And of course, we know works are known for that. Now he talks about simple sadhanas for chitta shuddhi. This is very much, resembles this 20th verse which we saw. Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. We saw that in the last session. This verse also given by Sumati are the basic simple sadhanas for chitta shuddhi. Because in the previous verse, this person has said one has to clear one's mind and intellect from these obstacles, these emotions which form obstacles. So, how to do that? What kind of a simple sadhana can I do for chitta shuddhi and ultimately moksha? So, Sumati says, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रं नेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम्. So he talks about 4 sadhanas, simple sadhanas. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Some parayana every day. We saw that in the Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadita. Similar. Geyam, may you chant. Simple parayana, even without knowing the meaning, it doesn't matter. It has its own punya. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. Nama Sahasram. Any Sahasranama. Vishnu Sahasranama, Shiva Sahasranama, my Ishtadevata Sahasranama or Ashtottara, whatever it is, let there be some Parayana every day. Then Dhyeyam Shripati Rupam Majasram. May you think of, may you do dhyana or meditation on Shripati Rupam. Shripati means Vishnu here, but we have to interpret it as may you do the dhyanam on your Ishtadevata. If Ishtadevata is Devi my Ishtadevata, then Sindhura Runa Vigraham Trinayana, that, and then maybe one has to do the japa of that particular Ishtadevata. So Dhyeyam, May you involve yourself in dhyanam, Shripati Rupam Ajasram all the time. Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. In Satsanga, if you have extra time, let your mind be in Satsanga. Spend your spare time in Satsanga so that you meet those people who have similar goals like you, and then you will be either doing parayana or nama sankirtana or whatever it is. It helps you in purifying your mind. Deyam dina janaya cha vittam. Always share, give danam to the extent possible. By giving danam, what happens? That ahankara mamakara comes down to a large extent. I hold this, I'm the owner of this, I have this. That kind of an ahankara mamakara dilution takes place, which is also chitta shuddhi. Therefore, whenever possible, wherever possible, try to share what you have in the form of giving danam. Then, next, these are preparations for the chitta shuddhi. I'm not going in detail into this because there are a lot of repetitions of the same subject in the different verses. In the next one, an unknown disciple comes and says that what are the tendency or the weakness for material objects and sense pleasures actually can really put a lot of strain and cause a spiritual downfall for a mumukshu. So, what does he say here in the 28th verse? Sukhatah kriyate rama bhogah paschadhanta sharire rogah yadyapi loke maranam sharanam tadapi na munchati papacharanam. Sukhatah kriyate rama bhogah. Here, Rama means the sense objects. All the time, a person who has weakness and obsession with materialistics and sensual pleasures, enjoying the pleasures of material objects, Rama Bhogaha, for Bhoga of material objects of the world, Paschad Hanta Sharire Rogaha. How long can he enjoy the material objects? A time comes when Paschat Hante Sharire Rogaha, with all these uncontrolled eating, uncontrolled drinking, unhealthy lifestyle habits, what does he do in the name of enjoying Rama Bhogaha? I am destroying my lifestyle. Sharire Rogaha. One day I'm going to land up with some kind of a disease of the body. The body rebels. I have abused the body, and the body rebels, and then I will no longer be able to fulfill my desires the way I want. And he says, Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam. In spite of knowing that this can even lead me to death, loke here, maranam sharanam. Maranam is the final. Ultimately, that is the final. Tadapina munchati papa charanam. Even then, even when my body is full of roga and I can clearly see the end in view, even then, a dharmic way of fulfilling my material desires, I don't give up. So please see this, he says, this unknown disciple of Acharya says, Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam, even though you are seeing that death is going to knock at your door soon, your body is full of diseases, tadapina munchati papa charanam. Even then, one does not turn to Govinda. One wants, with a sick body, with that also, one wants to continue to enjoy material pleasures. It's okay to enjoy material pleasures given by Lord, but let there be some kind of a limit in it, some kind of a niyantrana on that, so that I don't spend all my time in enjoying the objects of the world, but let me have some time for my spiritual advancement as a mumukshu also. Then there is one more verse here also, we don't know, unknown. Artham anartham bhavaya nityam nasti tatah sukaleshah satyam putradapi dhanabhajam bhitihi sarvatraisha vihita ritihi. So, actually, this verse can be read with the second or third verse, but then this is not written by Acharya Shankara. This is written by one of his disciples. Therefore, it is taken here. It is very similar to what we have seen in the second and third verses, Shankaracharya's verses only. He says, Artham anartham bhavaya nityam. Artham or wealth or resources are needed. There is no question about it. They are needed. How much is needed? There is a limit to what we need. But then when we try to accumulate much more than what we need, this artha itself can become anartha. This artha which is meant for me, rakshartham arthyate iti artha. I said when we talked about the artha purushartha that time, in the second verse, which is the second verse. Yeah, in the second verse, Moodha jahihi jana dhanagama trishna. In that verse we saw. We can take it along with it. It said that artha don't depend too much on money and material resources. Why? They can turn into anartham. They can create problems for you. Bhavaya nityam. All the time remember, money is not going to be there all the time with you. When it comes, when it goes, what kind of an anartha it can cause, you don't know. Nasti tataha sukhaleshaha satyam. It is true that money and resources can give you some kind of a comfort in life. But money gives me security, peace, and happiness is a wrong understanding. Money may give me comforts to live a comfortable life. That's it. But money does not give everlasting peace, security, and happiness. So, sukha leshaha nasti tataha. Don't expect any kind of peace, security, or happiness from wealth. And that is satyam, it is true. What more? Putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi. A very wealthy person is even scared of his own children that they may try to cheat him of his money. How many cases have we not heard? How many times we have not seen children only trying to cheat the parents of their money? Dhanabhajam bhitim putradapi. Putradapi. I'm scared of my own children trying to relieve me from my money. I'm scared of my own children trying to adharmically, you know, take my money away from me. It is possible. Dhana bhajam. They want to share. They want to pull away. They want to rob. It is possible. We have seen that in Kali Yuga. We have seen that very often where children themselves are the worst enemies. When the property issues come, when money issue comes, they don't mind doing anything for money and property. This is putra adapi dhana bhajam bhitihi sarvatraisha vihita ritihi. This is the riti. That means it was not different those times also. It was the same those times also. Power and money is something which even the children want to extract from you. So there is a bhiti. The more money I have, the more fear from everybody. Not even from everybody, from my own children also. I am afraid. Sarvatra yesha vihitaritihi. This is the truth. Therefore, don't be too much hooked on to Artha Kama as the ultimate security, peace, and happiness. Then in the next verse also there is somebody. The next two verses are the unknown persons who have said verses here. He says that what are the basic, again some sadhanas. This next disciple who is talking about this verse, that is the 30th verse, what does he talk about here? Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya nitya viveka vicharam japya sameta samadhi vidhanam kurvavadhanam. So this is again an unknown, unnamed Shishya who is talking about some other sadhanas for Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishalyam, and to go into this Jnana Yoga. He says, Pranayamam Pratyaharam. So these are the two steps of Patanjali Yoga system. That is what? Pranayamam, regulating the breath. By regulating the breath, what are we doing? We are making the body also relax and quiet. We are going to make the mind also quiet. Because breath is like a bridge or a link between the Annamaya and the Manomaya. So, by pranayama or by regulating the breath, that is why Krishna said actually in the sixth chapter also for dhyanam, before dhyanam, you do the pranayama so that the body is relaxed and the mind also is relaxed. So, he says pranayamam. Different varieties of pranayama are there that we are not doing. Pranayamam, do the prana. Pratyaharam, withdrawing my sense organs from their fields of objective world. Pratyahara, that means what? I withdraw my mind and sense organs, both jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. I withdraw into myself so that I am able to really do chintanam on atma tattvam. So pranayamam first, pratyaharam, nitya anitya viveka vicharam. Okay, so when I'm sitting for dhyanam or meditation, nitya anitya viveka vicharam. Let there be this vichara or enquiry on nitya anitya viveka. That means atma anatma viveka. May you do the atma anatma viveka. Japya sameta samadhi vidhanam. After this, may you sit for dhyanam, meditation, japa on Saguna Ishvara. Saguna japa, Saguna Ishvara japa or Ishta Devata japa. So what does it say? Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. Then after this japa, with japa, Samadhi Vidhanam, that is concentrating this mind on that particular principle, Atma, about which the scriptures are talking about. Then, Kuru Avadhanam. May you concentrate on this Atma Tattvam. Avadhanam Kuru, Mahat Avadhanam Kuru. May you be committed to doing vichara or abiding in this Atmaswarupa. This is more of a nididhyasanam. This is, how, what kind of a nididhyasanam one has to do. That is what is being talked about as one of the sadhanas of a mumukshu in Jnana Yoga. Kuru avadhanam. May you concentrate. May you have that focused mind on learning about the Mahavakya Aham Brahma Asmi. Now the last word, last verse. The last verse also is the disciples are saying, one of the disciples who is unknown, he's saying this. What is he saying? Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha Samsarad Chirad Bhava Muktaha Sendriya Manasa Niyama Devam Drikshyasi Nija Hridayastham Devam. The ultimate step, the final step, nididhyasanam and atmajnana nishtha. So what does he say here? Guru charanambuja nirbhara bhaktaha. All these sadhanas you have done, but when you have to go to jnana yoga, when you have to study the scriptures, you cannot do it independently. It is not possible to study the scriptures independently. Therefore, you have to surrender to the Guru. So, Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha. When you surrender to the Guru, you have to be a Bhakta of the Guru also. Without Bhakti, no sadhana is possible. Without Bhakti, Karma Yoga is not possible. Without Bhakti, Upasana is not possible. Without bhakti, jnana yoga is also not possible. So when you surrender to the Guru, you surrender to the Guru with bhakti. You see Ishvara in the form of the Guru. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. I see that Dakshina Murti in my Guru, and surrender to the Guru with bhakti. For what? For this knowledge. I see Ishvara in Guru, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. I see that. Because of that, I am able to surrender. And for me, at this moment, the one who is going to unfold the scriptural knowledge or Ishvara's knowledge is Guru. And Guru is now as much as Ishvara for me, is as good or equivalent to Ishvara for me. So Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta Samsarat Achirad Bhavamuktaha. If you want to get free from this samsara without much delay, in due course. Achirad means fast, soon. How soon? It depends on our preparation. How prepared I am for this knowledge. What is my self effort in this knowledge? How much commitment I have for Shastra? How much time do I spend on Shastra? All that it depends on my swaprayatna. At the same time, I have to pray for the grace of the Lord also. So, samsarat achirat bhavamuktaha. May you get free from this samsara without much delay. By what? By surrendering to the Guru Charanambuja Nirbhara Bhakta. Surrender at the feet of the Guru. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. What was talked about in the previous text that we have seen. Then Sendriya Manasa Niyamadevam. It's only when your indriyas and mind are prepared for this knowledge. A sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari. So the whole journey of the mumukshu is talked about here. What is that? Sadhana chatushtaya adhikari. He clears or he has chitta shuddhi by following karma yoga, upasana yoga, surrenders to the guru for jnana yoga, and with this Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti and Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Sa Indriya Manasa Niyama means what? With the discipline of a Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikari, when you go to the Guru with a prepared mind for this knowledge, what will happen? Drakshyasi Nija Hridayastam Devam. You will understand or you will drikshyasi, you will see your true nature, you will see yourself to be that consciousness, hridayastam devam, that consciousness which is in your heart only, which is available upalabdha in yourself, that which you are going after, searching for which everywhere, that consciousness, which is the ultimate source of peace, security, and happiness, can be found within yourself only. You don't have to look for it anywhere. Hridayastam devam drakshyasi. You will see. See means what? You will realize that you are that particular consciousness which is nothing but the ultimate source of peace, security, and happiness. No amount of artha kama pursuits are going to give me this permanent peace, security, and happiness. It's only this Ananda Swarupa Atma, Sukha Swarupa Atma, that is going to make me understand that this peace, security, and happiness which I was looking for in the outside world because of delusion is available within me only. That is why this work is called as Moha Mudkaraha. So, what is the Moha? That I can get peace, security, and happiness from the world outside and go after the world and Artha Kama Purusharthas. And Moha Mudkara says, all the fields of your delusion are false. They are continuously keeping you in bondage. Govindam Bhaja. So, on one side, our delusion is hammered by Bhajagovindam. On the other side, it says, please choose Govinda, Bhajagovindam. Choose Moksha as your Purushartha. May you have Moksha Purushartha as your Nishchaya. And over a period of time, the way the scriptures tell you, do that, follow this path, get free once and for all, and don't come into this cycle of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. So, with this, we are completing the very first Advaita Stotra of Adi Shankaracharya, that is Moha Mudgaraha. And from the next session, we'll go to the next step as to what kind of sadhanas Bhagavan Shankaracharya wants a mumukshu to do to develop sufficient chitta shuddhi and chitta naishalyam for this knowledge. That work is called as sadhana panchakam. So we will see the sadhana panchakam from the next session. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.